The All About Nothing podcast
may have content and language
that isn't appropriate for some.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the All About Nothing podcast. This is episode number 181. I am Barrett Gruber. Also, it's Monday, November the 13th, which I'm sure that sounds kind of weird because it's not really Monday, November 13th, but just deal with it. I am joined this week by the chair for the Lowcountry, South Carolina Democrats and state committee lead for the community engagement at the South Carolina Democratic Party Council of Black Democrats, Erica Sampson. Welcome, Erica.
Wow. What an introduction.
You like that?
Wow. Okay.
If I have the opportunity, I sometimes come up with much better ones.
Yeah.
But all of this
that
still
was pretty solid.
All of this is still true, right?
It's still true.
Yeah, okay.
Still true.
Good. Erica is actually celebrating her birthday. She came up to Columbia specifically just for this, and then she's turning around and driving back to Charleston, where you fly to Belize tomorrow.
That's right. I will be on the plane, checking out, turning all devices off.
Have you ever been to Belize before?
I've never been out of the country.
No, are you kidding?
So I was actually supposed to go out of the country during the summertime. I was supposed to go to Mexico. And so my flight was on a Thursday. My passport didn't arrive till Friday. I was that close.
That stinks.
Close. Yes.
I assume that it was insured and that you were able to.
Yes.
Okay,
so yeah, it was all good. So I will be heading out this time. I'm not missing this one.
Yeah, no, for sure. Belize is amazing.
Nice.
I have only been as close as to the very southern end of Mexico because we stayed at a resort for my ex-wife's honeymoon, but it was we were actually it's pretty interesting. During our honeymoon, Belize government fell.
Oh, really?
There was a coup.
Oh, man.
And refugees from Belize were coming up the beach, and our resort turned into a food and water handout for refugees that as they were passing through. So it was a really cool experience. They did tell us to stay they told us to stay off the beach. They told us to stay in our I guess off of the beach and mostly on the resort side of things. But we asked if there was anything we could do to help or whatever, because we had seen the news and we kind of knew it was coming, but it was an interesting experience. Some shout outs this week. Thank you to Dr. Jamil Brooks and Bill Kimler, candidates for South Carolina State House.
Where's the bell?
Here. Right
yeah, get out.
Yeah, candidates for the South Carolina State House of Representatives for Districts 12 and 13, respectively, as well as the host of the podcast sensation Black, White, and Blue in the South, available on all of the podcast platforms. I enjoyed sitting down with them both, discussing the campaigns, podcasting as well, and politics. So make sure to subscribe to Black, White, and Blue in the South. Also, shout out to friend and contributor to the show, John Kosas Jr., broadcast and media relations manager for the Columbia Fireflies. His book, Play-by-Play, right here, Play-by-Play from the minors, profiles of baseball broadcasts from Scranton to Yakima. His book is now available on, I guess, Books A Million. What are some other bookstores that still exist?
Oh, man.
Barnes & Noble still exists in places. Amazon is where you can also get it. And actually, John is on my bowling team, so I had him sign it.
Nice.
And honestly, I can't read your chicken scratch, John. I have no idea what this says. I think it says something about support in there, but that was all I got. But you can get your book on Amazon. Definitely go and do that. He also will be on December 7th from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at All Good Books, 734 Hardin Street. So definitely come out and visit him and get a book signed and that sort of thing. Also, congratulations to friend of the show and re-elected mayor of City of West Columbia, Mayor Tim Miles, who reclaimed his seat with reportedly 70% of the vote.
Nice.
Yeah, he took that one down. As well as congratulations to another Midlands mayor who, in the town of Casey, that is Elise Pardon. She also won her respective seat, so she will be serving for her 5th term as mayor. These are two neighboring towns, right?
I was about to say, I have no idea.
Yeah, they're very close to
any
here.
Of these are.
I'm going to have them on here in the next couple of weeks, both of them together, so that we can talk about some of the things that they're going to be doing in these next terms for both West Columbia and Casey. So I live in West Columbia, which is just down the road just a little bit. So also shout out to City of West Columbia for another very successful Fallback Festival. It was last Friday. We'll talk more about that with Mayor Tim Miles when he sits down with us. And based on some of the articles that I saw, they had hundreds of people out there. Basically, Fallback Festival is a chance for some of the local vendors to come out. They had a couple artists that performed, as well as some art studio stuff they had going on. It was supposed to be really cool. I missed it. I was camping. Lastly, here's your New Brooklyn Tavern event update for this week. Honey Revenge, Pollyanna, and Colorblind will be Wednesday, November 15th, Thursday, November 16th. TX2 Ghost of the East Coast Tour with Kid Baron. Friday, November 17th, Rejectioners, Crenshaw, Pentecostal, Hill Mouse, Kimberly Walsh, and then Saturday, November 18th, Vincent Nell Emerson. Goat Whore and Weathered and Spitter on Monday, November 20th. So you can check out newbrooklyn.tavern.com for details on all of what they have going on, as well as buying your tickets. So I have a few articles that I was going to discuss, and I wanted you being fairly heavily involved in the Democratic Party, I would say. Clarence Thomas, did you hear about the RV loan that was basically forgiven? Okay. So the New York Times reported just last week that apparently Justice Clarence Thomas failed to repay a nearly $270,000 loan on a RV that can only be described as what some bands would tour with.
Oh, wow.
It was an unbelievable... I've seen pictures of this thing, and I can only describe it as being one of the easily most elaborate RVs. So, and we'll dive into some more of that in just a second, but is that something that black people do now more frequently? Is RVing?
Listen, I'm surprised. The question is, do we camp?
So,
let's start there. And honestly, I would love an RV, a one-stop shop, but the whole camping right now, I feel like I would love to go camping, but I'm like a technology person where I need an outlet at the campsite. Like, that's like my type of, is that glamping? Maybe it's glamping.
Okay, so I camp at places that have plugs.
Oh, nice.
But I camp in a hammock. So I camp in a hammock. And it was chilly last weekend. But what we do is there's a thing called an underquilt that goes underneath your hammock, and it kind of it's like a sleeping bag that hangs under your hammock, but it catches all of the heat. Doesn't allow for any wind.
Oh, wow.
And then you're in a nice cushy sleeping bag.
See, I actually, I saw there's places where now they are building tree houses.
I've seen that.
And I am very invested into doing something like that.
South Carolina state parks actually have some really great like cabins too.
Okay.
So we stayed at Santee State Park, which is down east of Orangeburg. But they have cabins that actually sit like out on the water, like on the lake.
Oh, wow.
So you have to take like a little path out to it, and then you get on a dock and walk out to it. But it's really cool. So Clarence Thomas, who I imagine you probably have read some of the things or heard some of the things that have gone on.
The foolery,
with him.
yes,
Yeah.
I have.
He definitely seems to be taking in as much as and past what is allowed when it comes to accepting gifts, taking money. I think his mother-in-law or his mother may have had a home purchase for her. So essentially, here's what they're saying is that apparently this RV he and his wife purchased, and then at some point after making a couple payments that are primarily interest-based, the loan was forgiven. And the loan was forgiven in a way that sort of, I guess, the individual that made the forgiveness on the loan, it sounds like there may have been some potential decisions that were made.
Some compromise.
In fact, despite the favorable nature of this 1999 loan and the lengthy extension to make good on his obligations, Justice Thomas failed to repay a significant portion of it, or perhaps any of it, $267,230 was the principal, according to a new report from the Democratic members of the Senate Finance Committee who are doing an investigation into him. This is the same Senate that has requested or has subpoenaed him, as well as Roberts and a couple of the other justices on certain things, and has had no response.
Listen, if someone is looking to get $267,000 out of me, I'm ghosting them too.
Yeah.
I'm changing my number. I'm changing the address. Like, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
He should know better. You know.
I suspect that he knew what was going on.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Please. He had options, and why not take advantage of it?
Yeah, a lawyer for Justice Thomas, Elliot S. Burke, disputed that the committee's findings, saying the loan was never actually forgiven, and the Thomases made all payments to Mr. Welters, who I guess is the one that financed the RV for him. And they made them on a regular basis until the terms of the agreement satisfied in full. And I feel like that's open-ended enough that satisfied in full.
I was literally about to do a quotation.
Yeah, satisfied. Yeah, exactly. That was that. So this is just another notch in what is, I think, the Clarence Thomas situation, and I don't know how else to describe it except for it's a situation, because who's the is it the senator that's in New Jersey, Menendez? Is that right? It's the one that accepted gifts from Saudi Arabia or Egypt, and he had literally gold bars.
Gold bars.
Yeah.
Say that. Yeah, they're like, come on now.
He had the audacity to Google how much these gold bars were worth.
I did hear about that.
So it's a situation where I think that ultimately he should resign. If there's going to be an investigation, let there be an investigation. But, go ahead and force, he should resign, because obviously he's been compromised in some way, I suspect. But on the Republican side, it doesn't seem, it's ultimately just forgiveness. It's like, yeah, Clarence Thomas may have done this. Well, he only did it 27 times.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the same justice that has also taken very elaborate vacations with some extremely high-profile Republican donors, and I don't understand how the line gets blurred so much between what's right with these justices.
I think everyone is just comfortable, if it's not broke, why fix it, and they're just going to keep taking whatever is available. I feel like it's just the flat out truth.
Isn't it broke?
It's been broke. It's been broke.
It feels broken. It just doesn't make any sense. So yeah. Clarence Thomas is continuing to prove that he is compromised. I guess that's what I could say, is that Clarence Thomas is absolutely compromised. And because if it was me accepting these gifts, no, I can't put myself in that scenario. I can't do it. I can't imagine a scenario where, as a high profile, and I have to say a politician, because justices are now politicians. But I ultimately feel like I could not allow myself to get away with something like that, because you're going to get caught.
Yeah. Clarence took it and he was like, no take backs.
Yeah. That's essentially what he did. Clarence Thomas, if you're watching or listening, my suggestion is go ahead and come clean. You can keep everything you have. I'd prefer you not keep your job, but because I think the only way for a justice to be expelled from the Supreme Court is they have to be impeached. I think it's an impeachment.
They had to pass away.
Well,
the way they hold on to these positions.
There should also be like an 18-year limit, I think, on justices being in place. One of the other things I was going to ask you about, and I'm sorry, Preach isn't here for it as well, but did you hear about this former teacher in Missouri who made $1 million on OnlyFans?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So former teacher Brianna Kopage revealed to Fox News the staggering amount of money that she made from adult content that she was making on OnlyFans. The former Missouri teacher, who made headlines for having an OnlyFans account, said that she had made nearly $1 million on the platform since she joined, which was just this past summer.
What?
In 6 months, she made $1 million. Kopish had been a teacher for 5 years, spending the last 2 at the St. Clair High School as an English teacher before resigning after her OnlyFans page was discovered by school administrators, and she was put on administrative leave. So she noted that her annual teacher salary was $42,000, which apparently in our country is one of the lowest salaries for teachers at all.
I believe it.
5 years as a teacher and was only making $42,000 a year. I am embarrassed for teachers that would have to admit that that's how much they made. I mean, I know friends that are teachers that I think when they started teaching here in South Carolina, despite the fact that because they taught in South Carolina, their student loans were repaid by the district that they went to work for, but she did most of this so that she could pay back her loans and then have an actual financing
security, stability.
To take care of herself. She noted that her Missouri. She said, "quote Missouri is one of the lowest states in the nation for teachers' pay." She told a radio station, and this district that I was working for is also one of the lowest paying districts in the state. She said, "I feel like times are tough. I have student loans. I have multiple degrees in education, and it would be helpful for the extra money." So based on, on Kopesh's teacher salary, she would have had to work for nearly 24 years to make the same amount of money that she was made from the OnlyFans in less than 6 months. She said she now has tens of thousands of subscribers in OnlyFans and has far exceeded her teaching salary, obviously.
I'm sure.
Although her OnlyFans account posts sexually explicit content, Kopech said she avoided showing her face because of her job as a teacher. So I have not been on OnlyFans, not for long, but you can check it out. OnlyFans.com/Barrett Gruber. No. So it's kind of it's a weird situation. I appreciate the fact that she took care of herself and got that
I
taken
feel
care
like
of.
And they probably honestly they should update the classes and curriculum anyway. There should be more career oriented classes earlier and stuff, and just life classes, whatever that consists of. But to knock her for getting a side hustle, what?
I feel like if it wasn't having an impact on her teaching, it's not like she was.
She didn't have a child in the background.
There's nothing in the article. Yeah, there's nothing in the article that indicates that she did any OnlyFans content at school.
Right.
It's kind of like if you're going to let Clarence Thomas get away with stuff.
What if some of them teachers was one of the subscribers? How it doesn't say how they found out, right?
No.
Okay, it could have been an admin
Yeah.
who was on OnlyFans, not minding their business.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of haters. So it is what it is. But it's unfortunate.
That is how it feels. It's discouraging. That
and a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs now. They see what is going on in the world. They see the pay. They're like, man, I'm not wasting my time. And some people just don't even want to go to school now.
No,
because they're just I'd rather just start a career because this is what am I paying for?
Yeah,
it's too much. And so I completely understand why people have to have their own side hustle. But we got to just mind our business, stay at our lane.
Where did you go to school?
So I'm in school now.
Okay.
So, yes, shout out to Arizona Global Campus.
There you go.
They have actually switched their days about 3 times to sort of get questionable. But I'm going to stick beside them.
As long as they have their accreditation,
I'm
that's
going to stick beside them because I'm almost at the finish line. So, once again, I'm going to mind my business.
Yeah. No, look, I have a family member who went to Life College for chiropractic. And he graduated, and then within 2 years, they completely lost their accreditation because of, I guess, money situations with the president. But if you go back and you watch some of the YouTube videos of Life College commercials, the president always had himself in these commercials, and he looked like, and I hate judging people by the way they look because I'm opening the door, but. He was an old white man with long, fluffy white hair. He looked like an occult leader.
Oh man, did he have shades and a black hat with an S on it?
Yeah, with a CS on. Yeah.
Did he?
This guy is not ever going to lead a cult. Sorry, Zach. Never. I don't think you're ever going to leave a cult.
Okay. All right, false alarm.
He may
False
join
alarm.
a cult. In fact, I think that's the emblem of the
That's
cult.
it right there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I told her that she could hold up Zach and Trent's faces just so they felt like they were here. But yeah, so no, I have not graduated from any university, and ultimately I would encourage my children that unless there is something specific that you want to do that involves the necessity of having a degree or a doctorate or something like that, absolutely take out the loans, because I'm probably not paying for it. but ultimately, yeah, I think that if that's the situation, if it's a job like that, but if not, then go to a trade school and learn. Like I've told my son several times, I said, just you can stay in the house after you graduate from high school as long as you go to school full time. But if you're going to school full time, just get a computer science degree, because computer science degree, 5 years you're making $75,000. Within another 10 years you're making, or within another 5 years you're making $100,000. So just do that, and then do what you want. Aside from that, you'll have the time, you'll have a good job. That's the idea. So, I was going to talk to you about some of the voting, because despite the fact that today is technically the episode drops on November 13th, we record on Wednesdays, obviously, and yesterday was election day here in the States.
Yes, it was election day. It was my birthday. It was lit. It was lit. I must say that.
How did things go in Charleston?
Charleston, I was surprised by some of the results, which I'm not going to say because I realize, they'll probably already see it. But I was surprised in some of the results. But one, I will say, when I went to go vote, the poll watcher, she was like, I recognize you. I was like, I know, because I be outside, girl. I know you probably do recognize me because I be here on time every time, So that that made me feel good. But I will say that I was surprised because a lot of the people that I feel are the qualified are always never the chosen answer. It is unfortunate. And then when it does happen, you're always like, well, are they going to run again? Is this what's going to, defeat them or, not make them? Because some of the people that ran, this is like their second time trying,
Oh, yeah.
So I'm always like, are they going to try again? It's always that pause where you got to figure out, well, what's next? But hopefully they continue. Because, that's how life is. There's going to be one winner, one loser, but hopefully they continue to still be outside to be advocates and, still fight, continue.
I think that's, and that's what I hear more often than not, is that the first time people run for an office, that, especially for Democrats, is that they usually have to run again before or they have to build on. Bill Kemmler and Dr. Jamil were on last week, and that was one of the things that they talked about was that, the likelihood is you're not going to win that first election. And I agree. I think it's really hard, especially in South Carolina. Charleston may be a little different. You go over to Richland County on the west side or east side of Columbia, it might be a little different. But like Lexington is extremely like pro. I almost said pro MAGA, and it is. I think parts of it are, but it is a very red county. My district, I think, based on the people that live in my district, just my neighbors and whatnot, I feel like we have a fairly high level of diversity. And I would think that in that diversity, that there would be tendencies to vote more Democrat. But I think really the issue is that people just aren't coming out to vote. So as in the positions that you hold currently, what are some of the things that you all do to try and encourage minorities to actually come out and vote?
So I earlier mentioned I was the chair of the Lowcountry Young Democrats. Shout out to y'all. But we do social events, but then we also have our business events. And I say business as in we alternate. We do Zoom, and then we go outside the next month. Because some people prefer to just, be in the comfort of their house, which is fine. But at some point, you got to get outside. You can't just be behind a screen talking all of that and, formulating your opinions and have more questions than answers. And so that's why we make sure to alternate that we are still going outside and we're going to wherever the need is. So we actually have ugly Christmas sweater.
Oh, nice.
event coming up. So it's just like little things like that we make sure that we come together, because just talking about politics can get real heavy.
Yeah.
It could go either left or right depending on the receiver and the sender. So it's great that we just meet outside, either to go grab food, and that way it's just a light area. We could just talk amongst like-minded people, and then next month we'll have our ugly Christmas sweater, so it's a house party this time. So it's gonna be fun. But yeah, we just try to and our demographic is the 40 and under.
Okay.
So we're very
I'm not in that demographic.
well, so we call you we call it a young dem at heart. You're a young dem at heart. But then I'm also part of a nonprofit called Positive Vibes, Rajane Smith Incorporated. So that's yes, right.
There you go.
There you go. So it's a nonprofit.
I should have put this over in front of you.
I know, right? I would have been hitting the whole time. But it's a great nonprofit. It's built out of tragedy, unfortunately. So the owner, the parents, their daughter, she passed away at 14 due to gun violence. She just went outside to hang out with friends.
Oh.
And it was like a group of teenagers. It was like a block party. And for whatever reason, someone did what they did. And so she passed away. So we do things like just giving back.
Yeah.
Because it's like you never know what someone's needs is. Some people keep it internally. They don't want to talk about it. They can walk around with a smile on their face. So we just try to take moments where we're receiving the needs of the community and doing what we can to give back in whatever capacity that is.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I hate that for, her parents, obviously, because I think that's having children. Ultimately, that's one of your greatest fears, is them being injured or anything like that. So, but it sounds like they did something positive with that, and
absolutely.
And so that's great. And unfortunately, I feel like there's so many people that fight against this idea that the gun violence. They have this weird idea that gun violence isn't caused by guns. Mm-hmm. That people cause the violence. Okay, so I believe if you really think that gun violence is only caused by people and not because of the tools they're using, then why not regulate that? Why not regulate the people now?
Absolutely, because I always feel like we should move past saying only gun violence awareness. Because I feel like at this point we are aware that there is gun violence. I think what we need to be using our time to say is gun reform policy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we're already aware that there's gun. That's obvious. Now let's switch and start talking about these policies. Like keep saying gun violence policy. Keep saying all of that. So I think that is where the focus is.
Yeah, I own guns and I am licensed to own them, and I do the test. I did the testing to get them. I try to keep up with my skills, but ultimately, like at home, I practice absolute gun safety, because the guns that I own are not anywhere available where my children can get to them. Mm-hmm. And the idea of someone coming into my house and me having to use a gun to protect us doesn't occur to me. Mm-hmm. A gun is absolutely the worst tool in that situation, because what if I'm wrong? What if what I heard wasn't an intruder? What if what I heard was one of my children? Mm-hmm. And so I don't even have the access to the gun. And I'll be honest with you, in the last 6, 8, 10 months, I have actually given consideration to go ahead and selling the guns back to whatever dealer, because I find more often than not, I don't even have a desire to have them.
When we was coming over here, you know how, as you guys can see, it's dark outside.
It is dark.
My friend was like, "Are you sure that it's safe for you to be up there?" She was like, "Thank goodness you're not going by yourself." And I was trying to tell her, I was like, "Man, I feel like I could take Bear in a thumb wrestle. Like I feel like I could probably take him down."
I'm not elderly. It's not elderly. I'm 5 years outside of your 40 under demographic. That's not a
very true. But I was like,
wrestling?
Nah, he's.
Is there a lot of violence that goes on?
No,
after?
I was like, he's good. But it was more of as we kept getting closer. But we said we did pay attention to the time change. But yeah, I was like, it was just sunny like 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, I'll say
And then I blink and boom.
We're recording right now from one of the picnic tables outside or inside of the Gibson Park Pond, actually. And this is a park that was actually revitalized after the floods of 2015. The dam that's back there actually burst open.
Oh, wow.
And sent something like 40 million cubic inches of water.
Oh, wow.
Down to where it then took out the next dam.
Oh, wow.
So this park was completely revitalized over the last 7-8 years. They rebuilt the dam. The pond is now stocked with fish. I come out here on occasion with my kayak and kayak around the pond, and I go up into the swampy area up at the end. But there's no alligators here. You guys have alligators in Charleston. There's no alligators here.
We do.
The water's too cold here. I also wanted to talk about some of the voting that went on yesterday nationally. Which did you pay any attention to like Ohio?
No, I did not.
Oh.
The places that I woke up and was refreshing my feed, but yesterday I did election night bar hopping.
Oh,
because they always have open bar.
They don't. I don't think they.
On election night.
I don't think they do that here in Columbia.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, in Charleston, something's in the water. But yeah, I was bar hopping at everyone's watch party.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I told you it's my birthday too. So
well, yeah, that's
like...
true. It was your birthday. That's true.
So I woke up and then like refreshed to see like results, but I was like in the moment.
Does that work well when it's your birthday and election night, and there's already election bar hopping? Do you have to pay for any of your drinks?
I don't.
See?
I do not.
Benefit. Yeah, no. So Ohio actually legalized abortion up to 24 weeks.
Oh, yes.
That is now
I did hear about that.
Constitutional, and after 30 days from the election,
give them a ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, that's an extended winner's thing. They get another extended winner's ding because they also legalized marijuana.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Recreational marijuana is now legalized in Ohio,
Wow.
and I am still dumbfounded that South Carolina, that used to have a serious tobacco crop, that is now all in Asia.
Oh, okay.
Basically, all of the tobacco that used to be grown in South Carolina has been moved overseas, and and that is we are devoid of a cash crop in South Carolina, and I cannot believe that we haven't legalized marijuana or the growing of marijuana, whether it's medical or recreational, that no one is jumping on this opportunity to seize a market that is just not.
We came close as far as like it has been discussion, but we can't ever get across the finish line. Like we get almost there.
And so we had a House bill. Was it last year? I think there was a House bill that was on that was going to, or that was set in, and actually had pretty broad support between both parties until one particular representative jumped up and said, "Well, this isn't a budgetary bill," and then it got nixed.
Yeah.
I don't know that McMaster's would have signed that into law, and I feel like it was just lip service for some of us in South Carolina. That it was kind of we're toying with the idea, but we're going to screw it up because of legislative issues.
I read an article where McMaster had gotten in trouble in college for like getting high.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, it's like he got in trouble for either selling or he smoked it, something like that. And I was like, my. You know how people just throw stones.
John Boehner was Speaker of the House before Nancy Pelosi's first Speaker of the House, and when he left, or when he resigned, or when he I guess retired, he got into marijuana, like marijuana business, and I think that is very telling. Look, my family had farmland in Kentucky, and one of the things that I kept saying that we could do is if they legalized industrial hemp, and they put out, they created, I guess, licenses for people to lottery system. They were going to bid on them, and you could actually go ahead and get a license, and I waited and waited for them to finally release it. When they did release it, I went and signed on. I got us in there, and then the next thing I found out was that all of the permits that had been granted were all granted to Mitch McConnell's family in Kentucky. So they see the benefit of it, especially financially, but they well, in that situation, because you can grow industrial hemp here in South Carolina if you have a permit for it. But yeah, it feels like we have to push past this. What is it going to take for South Carolina to legalize marijuana? Because it's not. I don't think getting a Joe Cunningham in there is going to do anything, because the legislature is still going to be controlled by the Republicans, and they'll never send that bill across because he will sign it before it hits his desk. Like, it'll be in midair, and he'll be like, ah. But like, it just seems to me that it doesn't make any sense for them to continue to hold out on this, because all of the research that's done around marijuana indicates that there are major health benefits to it, and there aren't really any health negatives. Now, I don't work in the medical industry, but I believe those to be true.
I think they're true too.
Okay.
I especially all the I watch a lot of TV shows.
Sure. Yeah.
And I see from the difference in the drugs when it comes to these storylines.
I watched Narcos. That's a true story.
No, I definitely feel like and I feel like they could benefit from just the money that the everyone could get back by selling it. You know, they could raise the teachers' pay.
Yeah.
Throw a little something their way, you know.
There would be the money for education, roads.
Yes.
I mean, you basically, it's the same thing. I feel like the same thing when it comes to like legalized gambling. Like, the only people that it's really going to hurt are the people that potentially are too weak to not control it themselves with it. I think the same goes with any marijuana. I mean, you've got other states in the West that, like Oregon or Washington, which one, but they basically legalized all drugs because addiction is not just because the drugs are available. Addiction is a disease. You know, whether it's alcohol or drugs, it's a disease, and it's something that needs medical treatment, not to make it illegal, just to as a way of saying, you know, you can't do it, so you won't. You can't do it doesn't mean you won't. You can't do it means you'll find sneaky ways of doing it. And so, but treating it like, and that's another thing. Like, you legalize marijuana, and even if pharmaceuticals wound up getting control of the whole thing, and they're making the most money off of it, you know, as long as you have a good tax structure for it, and those pharmaceuticals are paying their taxes, that's money back into the system. So it seems like it would be
beneficial all
around. So, but how do you convince Republicans that are of an age that, speaking of outside of your demographic, most of Republicans in this state that are holding offices are, I still believe, I don't want to sound ageist, but I think they're too old to be holding those positions anymore.
I think that they're too old, but I feel like if it was something with the financial on the end of it, I think that they would definitely tighten up and be more open-minded. I don't know what kind of compensation or whatever, but it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
I feel like what we're doing now, since they have the power, all they have to do is say no, and it's just no.
Right.
But I feel like if we're going to change their mind, it's either we get some other people with like-minded, you know, in those positions, or maybe it could be a money situation. Like, here's the numbers that we could bring in, you know, but if we change our thought process and actually bank on some of this.
Yeah. So here's an idea, Republicans. You can lower the taxes in the state for anyone you want to if you legalize marijuana and allow that to be taxed. And you can tax it at whatever rate you want. Yes. I mean,
Can you throw Trent in?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Trent.
You also get a Trent.
If Trent's not going to get pulled over anymore, not to air his business. That's his story to tell. Yeah. So I mean, congratulations, Ohio. I know Ohio is sort of a swing state, or it used to be at one time in the last few years, but like, you know, there's an opportunity, and then them legalizing abortion to 24 weeks, which is pretty much widely accepted as that is the point at which a birth is viable, or a fetus is viable, that it's going to progress all the way to birth. And the fact that Ohio, now a red state that voted for Trump twice, has now codified into their constitution that abortion is legal. That, I think, is very telling of how things are going. So the Supreme Court basically ruled that it was up to the states to decide whether abortion was legal. And I appreciate at least the legislature of Ohio in allowing the voters to make that decision. So just to look at some of the numbers based on this, of course, it won by about 50. It was a 57% to 43. And the numbers as far as who voted in favor of it, ages 18 to 29, it was 77%, 30 to 44, 68%. It started dwindling after that. 45 to 64 was 53%, and then it did not pass with anyone over the age of 65.
That speaks volumes.
Why are these people concerned at all about abortion?
For real.
How many 65-year-olds are out there getting pregnant and being like, I can't carry this baby to term?
Apparently a lot, if they are this much involved. It must be somebody out there, a committee, a backdoor club that we are not aware of. They have a secret knock to get in.
It comes with yogurt and a spoon.
Exactly.
In some cases, a straw.
You know, their day starts at 12. Like, yeah.
Well, as far as races go for abortion, pretty much. I mean, it was 57. I would have loved to have seen it like, it would have been really great if it had been like 80-20. Like it actually, all races, it passed.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big deal. With the marijuana, again, every age demographic up to 65, it passed. 65, they were like, nah.
Are they like the boomers?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. They're just in that mentality maybe still, or maybe it's a power struggle to not change and norm, but
it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me how they can make decisions like that. So here's the thing. I am ultimately of the belief that I would like a small government that uses the taxes that I already give, and that I don't mind paying taxes. I feel like it's my responsibility, and even when I fight the IRS on some things, I still pay my taxes. But when it comes to things that I don't think the government should have its hands in, like abortion and marijuana, why is it that these people can't just say, well, I just don't want to do it? Why does everyone 65 and older feel like they have to influence everyone younger than them?
right. Or do they even have driver license? Are they mailing in their votes?
Votes like this are what make me want to take away your voter
Right.
ID.
Exactly. Like, how are you getting to this poll? Try it. You know, like, please.
I'm having, you've worked polls. I've worked polls. I know that they arrive in buses.
Yeah, they do.
Their church rounds them up and then brings them to vote. I know exactly how that happens. Real quick, Kentucky reelected Andy Beshear, who's a Democrat. Now, he has distanced himself from Biden lately, but ultimately I think that was probably mostly just for the election. This is his last term, and because I think in Kentucky they also have a 2-term limit as far as election. You can be elected 2 terms. But I think this gives him the opportunity to potentially bolster more Democrats. And based on the map that voted for him, there was a lot of coal country in there, like on the eastern side of Kentucky, that went his direction. So I think that he's doing some positive things
You get a
for.
ding.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
I often forget that this is even here.
You know, we all have a role to play.
That's right. But Kentucky could potentially be the next state that legalizes marijuana, because tobacco was big in Kentucky as well.
That would be shocking.
I just think that Andy Beshear, Governor Beshear, could potentially bring about some change. And I ultimately think anyone that enters their specifically their last term, that's when they're able to do the most good, because they're not constantly worrying about the next election. Lindsey Graham, you could do a lot of good if this was your last term. That's all I'll say about that. Also, Virginia House and Senate went Democratic.
And I missed that one.
So Virginia, back during Trump, both the House and the Senate in Virginia both went Republican. and then they elected this numbskull as governor, and I can't remember his name.
I know exactly who you're
Youngkin.
talking. Yeah, I can't think of his name. Mhm.
They
Yes.
elected Youngkin as their governor, and so basically Virginia, which is typically a blue state, I mean, I think it goes back and forth. It's a purple state, but it had always been pretty much Democrat. It was governor, House, and Senate were all, but the Governor Youngkin was not up for re-election this time. Mm-hmm. But I think the writing's on the wall. I think the possibility of them having someone come in there next year as a good, viable Democratic candidate, I think Virginia winds up turning. Mm-hmm. And then
I can see that.
legalizing marijuana and abortion.
I thought that they were. Maybe it's West Virginia. I could have sworn one of them was already legalized.
I think you're right. It's either Virginia or
I
West
think it's Virginia. One of them is legalized. Because I remember when I heard it, I was surprised. I was like, man, South Carolina, like even Virginia.
I ultimately,
I think it is.
I think that it's going to take North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida to all legalize marijuana before South Carolina
Like,
goes,
with
we're
our
missing
powers
out.
combined.
Yeah.
Like let's do it. Let's do it now.
If that's what it takes, then I'll take it. So the Democratic Party now holds Virginia and the Senate. So, do you have any news?
I had I think Trent would appreciate this. I actually had a conspiracy theory. You guys haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done conspiracy theories in a while, and so let me cue up the music for you because ultimately, if you're going to do conspiracies, then you definitely need to make sure that you have the music.
Exactly. Okay, you want me to go ahead, share?
Yeah, please.
So apparently the conspiracy is that only certain people are being elected for president because they're apparently somehow related.
Okay. All right. So
I know that there are some father-son duos in the lineup,
yeah,
but
John Quincy Adams.
this website was trying to connect Clinton to Obama, and I was like, I don't know. You had me processing and considering it, but then you put the two opposites beside each other as a reference. But yeah, they were saying that it's like a big deal, apparently. And I didn't validate this website. But they were like, yeah, a lot of the people that are picked are somehow apparently like related somewhere in their timeline.
So I can kind of go along with. I think I can see because we're all related. Mm-hmm. But because like when we did my family, have you ever done the Ancestry.com?
Yes, my mom did it because she was adopted. So she did
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Did she find out?
She
was she
did.
adopted like with no known birth parents or?
Yeah. So her adoption was closed. So it was a struggle for her to even look into it. But because she did the Ancestry, someone else in her family did it. And that's how they were connected. So she had to go through a third option to figure it out. So, but she found out. We found out.
Well, we've done our Ancestry, and we've gone all the way back to like the 1400s because, well, as a white guy, they've been keeping track of this for like 800 years.
Exactly.
The Catholic Church kept track of all of that and everything, so that's made it easier. Mm-hmm. But in our goings through. We did find out, just like virtually everyone else apparently in the United States, is in some way related to Abraham Lincoln. Mm. That's always the one you hear is like, oh, related to Abraham. Yeah. No. So we weren't related blood-wise. Mm-hmm. We were actually related to we made it all the way to a cousin who is related to Mary Todd Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
Lincoln. So then you have to drop down a branch and then go up to, drop down to the kids and then go over. Mm-hmm. So it's there's some separation there. But yeah, it is... I want to say, I think this conspiracy could potentially be true. Not
like 100%, but like a 40%. There might be some truth.
Not in the sense that, maybe that there's some conspiracy to like keep all of the elections or all of the presidents like in the family.
Yeah.
Because I really find it hard to believe. Well, I guess if we had elected more black presidents, mm-hmm. then they could be related to Thomas Jefferson, mm-hmm. or
Bill Clinton.
Or Bill Clinton. Sure, he look. Admittedly, he's done some things in his But if Michelle Barack were to ever have a split, I feel like George Bush would be in there quick.
He would be in there.
He loves Michelle Obama.
Oh man, he trying to be somebody pappy again.
I don't know. At his age, 'cause she's what 50.
Listen,
she's not,
I
she's
will
not old.
never acknowledge a black woman's age at a certain.
That's fair.
After a certain, you just what's understood don't gotta be explained.
That's fair, and I have to stop doing that because I am really bad about like figuring out how old somebody is just based on how they look. Because ultimately there are people that I used to work with that I'd be like, he's 112. And they're like, no, there's no way he's 112. He graduated he was born the same year as my mom, and she's only 50. Da 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 da. And it's like, yeah, but he's 112. I'm terrible, and I'm terrible about asking people their age, which is why when we announced that it was your birthday, I did not ask you.
Aww.
I refrained, and it took a lot for me to not ask.
Nice, you're learning.
I know it's under 40.
It is under 40.
Because if you're partying in the under 40,
exactly. Got it.
I feel like to be a young Democrat, you probably have to be under 40.
I feel like a young Democrat, I feel like is anyone under,
Here we go. No, I'm prepared.
Is anyone under like 59? I feel like when I'm in my 50s, I don't want people to label me as old because it's like, hold on. I am only in my 50s. I'm not old. I may be older, but I'm not old.
I confess that I think that 45 will be plenty. If I get through 45, then that'll be fine.
That'll be fine.
The kids will be set. The insurance will take care of. By this point, the life insurance is completely set in. It doesn't matter what I do to myself; they'll be fine, and that'll take care of them for the rest of their life. That should be good.
Yeah, we're just living for other people right now.
That's right. So you don't have any announcements or anything that you're considering doing here in the near future, or anything you don't want to?
I do, but I don't want to say it yet.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
I'm excited.
Yes, we internally talk amongst each other, as y'all can see.
Yeah.
But yes, so hopefully I have some announcements to make myself.
I think that you should make that announcement.
Okay.
And I want to be there when you do.
Okay.
Because I would be excited for you.
Thank you.
There are other people I think as well. I would really like to see Brandon Upson make an announcement for his own career politically.
Yes, absolutely. He can turn water to wine. Like he has a way with words. Like I'd be like, I don't want this stale bread, but because you selling it to me, I'm gonna buy it. I
don't even need him to. He doesn't have to run for governor. He doesn't have to. But Brandon, if you're listening, I just want to sit next to you because I love.
He does. He has an aura.
Talking to him on the phone.
He does.
He is so positive.
Yeah.
But we mentioned Matt Villardo at one time was going to be joining us, but he unfortunately is in Washington, D.C. He actually sent me a message when he landed. But it looks like based on his Facebook, he's got an announcement coming up.
Oh.
So
tis the season.
We'll try and pin him. Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing is like even I don't know what he's running for, but even running for like state seats that you can't go and put your you can't actually go ahead and get yourself listed for the candidacy yet. Or go ahead and I don't even know. I can't think of what it's called. See, ageism. But when you go and register with the state as a candidate, that doesn't even start till like March, right? But we have candidates that for the Democratic Party that are already starting to build their campaigns. Bill and Jamil are already working on. They're working on I think they have a campaign manager lined up because they're going to do a dual campaign. They have a campaign manager lined up. They have a treasurer with an accounting degree. Apparently, if you listen to their episode, that was their big announcement. But as well, they're looking at their campaign office. So. I think that's probably the best way to do it, and go ahead and get started early. Go ahead and start walking the streets, and you make all those contacts now. Then it's you build off of that, and I think that getting started early for the Democrats is probably going to be the best way to potentially make some seat changes.
Yep.
So. And then you'll let us know what you're doing.
And then I'll let you know.
Well, Erica, I really appreciate you driving literally all the way up to Charleston to sit in the cold, in the dark with me to record an episode. I appreciate your friend Angelina. That I could only see a silhouette of her. She was somewhere out here. But really, thank you very much for coming up.
Absolutely.
And I hope we can do this remotely next time if you want.
I want to come back and see the whole group.
We'll get
and
that.
Experience that.
We'll absolutely get that worked out for sure. So, thank you again.
Yes.
Very much.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to wrap up the show. So this was episode number 181 of the All About Nothing podcast. Thank you very much, Erica, for being here. Preach will be on again with us soon. I have absolutely no doubt. And I just want to comment that his gallery that he mentioned on the show that opened they are in the process of getting things set up, and they're going to be opening it here in the next while. But I don't have a firm date on it. But when they do, we are definitely going to be recording from there. Because it's going to be awesome. The whole idea behind the gallery and what it is that they're doing is just going to be really, really cool, and I think really good for Columbia. So look forward to that. Make sure to share the episodes with your family and friends. That's how we get new listeners. You can also check out our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. And if you think our financial model of giving away free content and entertainment is silly and you're in the giving mood, please consider becoming an official Nothinger by joining our membership or becoming a member for the All About Nothing podcast. There's a support link at the top of our website that you can click on that'll take you to a page where you can select different tiers that give you early access and exclusive content. And if you'd like to just give a one-time donation, that's there as well. We are happy to take your money. If you'd like to join in the conversation as well, we have a Discord channel that you can actually make comments. Our friend Daniel, I know I was going to mess it up. Our friend Daniel, who actually ran for district, I believe it was 13 or 14 in near Greenwood. He comments on our Discord channel fairly frequently, so I respond to him. But he's fantastic as well. Daniel Duncan, man.
Daniel Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
There you go. Missed it again. This is why I need Trent. I need you to take care of this. So again, please subscribe to the show, follow, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, all of that stuff. That's why you find out when new episodes come out. Or if you're just subscribed to the podcast, you'll get a notification when the episodes are available Monday mornings every single week. So
and do. Yes,
please do. That's how Erica found me.
Yes.
Actually, that's not true. Erica didn't find me. I was introduced to Erica at the fry, the fish fry, and I feel like I awkwardly stood there too long.
I actually already knew about you before that from Jenny.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, Jenny told me all about you guys.
Jenny just celebrated her birthday too.
She did.
That's very cool. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Everybody, you all stay safe and keep listening to the podcast and subscribe. Get your friends and family to subscribe. Thank you, Erica, for being here.
Yes.
The All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow everything Cake the band at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff the producer for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the producer. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Gruber or visit my linktree /Barrett Gruber. Want to support the show? Visit our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available, including memberships that give you early access to episodes as well as exclusive content. Visit theallaboutnothing.com. To find links to our social media, merchandise, and past episodes, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you can call and leave us a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our partner podcast. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Me takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland. Available on all the podcast platforms. Visit WTWLpod.com for details. As well, you can listen to the political and social conversation between Dr. Jamela Brooks and Bill Kimmler on Black, White, and Blue in the South. Available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe and share this show. If you're on YouTube, please like and hit the notification bell. Thank you for listening. The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2023, all rights reserved.